Welcome to the business of being healthy, where we are passionate about treating our health as good as we treat our wealth. Shelly Bryan here, and I am obsessed with sharing real-life experiences and wisdom to help save you time, heartache, and money as you continue to grow personally and professionally. Twice a week, we push aside that BS to take massive intentional action. And I promise by tuning in, you will receive the straightforward talk you've been waiting for, filled with actionable steps that will inspire you to achieve the health and wealth you desire while you are building your empire. Welcome back to another episode here on the business of being healthy. I wanted to jump on here. This is actually a pretty quick impromptu episode. I mean, I put a lot of thought into all of these, but this one, it just hit me again this morning, and I had this set to record at a later date, but we're bringing it out right now. And it all stems around two stories that I'm going to use, but it's all about asking better questions. And I think right now this is kind of a hot topic, especially when you think about AI, right? Like AI is all related to the prompts that you put in will determine the amount or the quality of work or response that you get out. While this is something that I think people are looking at as new, it's not. Still, when you're running your teams, when you're working with your family, when you're building a business, when you're hiring someone on, it's the questions that you ask that will not only help set expectations, but also get you to that overall result or answer that you want. So I want to share a story of what happened to me. I was walking actually into, and this is going to share, I'm just sharing it with you guys because I think this is, while I'm not too proud of myself as how I acted in the beginning. I am this is what I do on the back end that I think makes sense. So let's just dive in. I'm not going to take you guys any further. But I was walking into a store here in town. It was actually a Nordstrom Rack. I literally needed a pair of black shoes. I had 15 minutes to walk in, grab a pair of black shoes, and walk out. And where I am in Scottsdale, it's kind of like this long entry from where the parking is walking up. And typically there are different vendors and or charities and or just things out front, always trying to solicit time or money. And as you can hear, I was walking in and I was like, I've got 15 minutes. This is it. And it's in and out. I had an idea of the shoe in my head so I could visualize it, find it, and go. As I'm walking up, I see there is a Humane Society booth, right? Big sign that says Humane Society. And I could tell, I was like, oh my gosh, not today, guys. I literally have no time. You know, when you pretend you pull out your phone and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on the phone, or you can't talk. I just had this look of I gotta go. One of the young guys behind the booth, I give this guy total credit because I know the look on my face was get out of my way, I gotta go. And he's like, do you know why I'm here? And I literally, it took everything in me. And still I start sweating because it just infuriates me when we ask questions like that. And I look at him and I am still walking, and I look at him as I'm walking and I go, you gotta ask better questions, bud. And I go, I can see a huge sign. I know why you're here. And I didn't say one more word, and I walked into the store. Meanwhile, I'm in the store, I'm looking for I have 15 minutes. I'm looking for the dang black shoes. And in my head, I was like, I can do better than that, Shelly. I can help him. And so I find my shoes, of course. Nordstrom Rack, you always find the shoe that you want. And I'm walking out and I'm like, all right, let me go help him. So I walk up. And I said, hey, bud, I'm sorry I was short with you in the beginning. I go, but you got to ask better questions. I said, why are you here? He's like, well, to raise money for the Humane Society. I go, yeah, your sign shows that. I said, so your question elicited that response from me. And that I know is not what you wanted. And he's like, no. And I said, listen, I've trained sales teams And I said, and overall, you're trying to make a connection with somebody. I said, you guys are the Humane Society. You're saving animals. You're saving lives. I said, so if you want to encourage someone to be able to come over and talk to you and potentially get a donation, whether it be time or money from them, I said, you got to make them be the hero. And so I gave him examples of like, someone's walking in. You could be like, hey, do you have your cape on today? Because you're about to save this little dog over here and, show a picture. I was like, you could ask a question of, do you want to feel absolutely incredible walking into that store right now? That is going to entice like curiosity. It puts like the person that you're talking to up on a pedestal. It makes them feel like empowered and excited about the potential conversation. They know that you're there to sell them something or to elicit something from them. But if you make it more about them and what they could do for someone else, that's going to get you the response of maybe someone donating, not what I did, yelled at the guy for essentially, I just straight up told him, ask better questions. And so I said, listen, I know that this was unsolicited, but I know what you're doing here. I think it's great. You gotta ask better questions. And he's like, totally get it. I appreciate it. The guy was probably like, I would say either like high school or very early college. And he took it like a champ. And I was like, you can use that for the rest of your life in sales, in what have you. And that story was just to kind of illustrate asking better questions. But this also comes down to something that happened with Jax today when I was taking him into gymnastics. So his season, so you guys kind of can wrap your head around this, his competition season with gymnastics is January through April. It is very short. It is very intense. The rest of the time is strength training and training new skills so they can level up. And so right now is actually a very important time. And we were driving into gym today, and I just started asking him, because there's a couple skills that he's a little fearful of, which I'm okay with, right? Like as a mom, totally okay with it. But I do want him to start challenging himself, right? I want him to level up. I want him to achieve the things that I know he can. He's just a little bit hesitant on it. And so I said to him, what skills do you think coach is looking for in order to approve you moving up? And notice I use the word skills. And he starts going, well, I need to get my flyaway. There was 2 other skills, one on rings and one on P-bars, parallel bars. And I know the flyaway on the high bar has kind of been like a stickler for him. And I was like, okay. I go, we talked about kind of being able to transfer confidence in other skills over to this skill. That story's for another time. But then I asked another question. I said, what additional skills do you think he's looking for in order to level you up as a leader in the gym for your team? And he was like dumbfounded, because immediately his thought went to actual physical skills within gymnastics. It didn't go to what I was thinking about. And he thought for a minute. I didn't say a word. I wanted to so bad, you guys. I wanted to so bad. But I just sat there and I waited, and he goes, to help other people? I said, hell yeah. That is a great skill as a leader, being able to help other people that need it. I go, I'm sure you've had some of the other guys, this gym has a lot of boys that go on into colleges and get picked up. So it's really a neat program. But I was like, I'm sure someone's helped you. And he's like, yeah. And I go, what else? And he sat there and he's like, I don't know. I go, well, when you look at, sports players like Kobe or Michael Jordan, I brought up Tiger Woods. I know his personal life isn't great, but, golf wise, I was like, what do you think like separates them? And he's like, they're just really good. I go, well, how do they get good? And he's like, they did the work. I go, they put in the reps. I said, so do you think coach is maybe looking for you to put in the reps so that you can get better at these skills, so that you can get the confidence? And I said, do you think he is waiting for you to do it, or does he want to tell you to do it? And he's like, for me to do it. And I was like, okay. And what else? And he's like, well, I could put away stuff without asking. And I go, brilliant, love it. That's what leaders do, is we shouldn't have to ask you. So I share that story, right? I mean, proud mom moment, sharing it with you guys. But I share that story is because sometimes, even when we ask questions, the receiving end is thinking something else. So in the first example, it was just like walking into the store. Horrible question. He got a horrible answer from me, but I helped coach him afterwards. Then you have Jax, where I asked him a question and he immediately went to the physical skill of gymnastics and not the other skills that come along with being a leader and leveling up, right? Whether that's leveling up in gym, leveling up in your career, right? Going for that promotion, being able to take on new roles and responsibilities, growing a business, growing a team. And so that question that I asked him, I had to kind of reframe it for him so that he could receive it and think deeper than the surface level of just the actual gymnastics skill. And so when I think about this and why I wanted to bring this up is because, I mean, obviously AI is coming, like I said, right now. I mean, we're all using it, I think, in some way within our business. I also believe this can be useful. Like, I have a team of VAs as we are scaling our construction business. It's asking the right questions. We just had a meeting today with an incredible software company for the construction business. And it was asking the questions as we were actually going through the training on it to be able to implement. Chris is thinking about it from implementation in the field. I'm thinking about it from implementation in training the team. So even that poses different interpretations when it comes to questions. So it just was such a hot topic recently that I wanted to bring it to you guys, because if you aren't getting the right answers, right? If you're playing with prompts in ChatGPT and you're just not getting the right answer, it's the input which determines the output. And so we have to ask better questions. Now, one thing I know, when I was doing sales training, and I've trained multiple sales teams, when I ran the restaurant with our media company, like all these different things, it's asking the right questions. And so I love asking those open-ended questions. And the one thing I always want to say is ask another clarifying question. That's one thing Jax could have done to me this morning, is clarified what my question was, and then we would have been on the same page. So while you can't always do clarifying questions with AI yet, you can keep drilling down and variations of the question to see how your input changes the output. Use that same methodology when you're working with your teams, when you're talking with your children or your loved ones, like I shared, and even if you're out selling, like whether you're selling a service and or a product, asking those questions of your potential customers can completely change the way that you direct or market to them. So, I just wanted to share this. I hope that you found value in it today. And if you have any questions, because I actually love this, just side note, I used to get actually being told to have a filter when I was in corporate America, because I'd ask questions because I really want to seek to understand, and they didn't like it. And so now, I've always asked questions because I am truly trying to understand what the other person and or system and or software training, I'm trying to understand. And so asking those right questions helps guide you there. Don't ever, if you are a leader, do not ever hurt hurt isn't the right word. I would say I would be cautious in your response when someone is asking questions, only because they could truly just be trying to understand, not questioning authority in any way, just trying to understand so that they can give you your desired result. I hope you guys found value in this one today. It was just a quick one I wanted to get out there because we have such an opportunity to increase our outputs based upon the input or the questions that we ask. Again, if you found this useful, I can tell you what, my ask of you is to please share. Please share it on social media, share it with your friends, tag me in it. I would love to know that you appreciate topics like this so that I can make sure that I am meeting your needs and that you are enjoying the show.